Welcome to my class. We are discussing the distant window by Ashapurna Devi. Uh, who is the main character? Parvati is the main character. She is a female protagonist. And there is another character, Nando Raut. Nando Raut is Parvati's husband. And there is a survey officer. His name is N.C. Mukherjee. And there is Dasarath. So these are the important characters that we have, but we have a female protagonist. Ashapurna Devi was a Bengali writer of short stories and novels. Um in this, she talks about Parvati, the condition of women, right? She is a feminist writer, a writer who writes about the condition, the suffering of women, and how this can be changed. Uh, Chapter 1, these are the main points. A car races past the sloping road, raising a dust storm. Parvati, drawing water from a nearby well, looks at the receding trail of dust and is worried as to who could have come at this hour of the day. Parvati, as I told you, she is the female protagonist of this novel. She is collecting water from a well, and at this time, a car goes past her and it goes ahead of her. There is a road. The road has been bifurcated, divided into two sides. Some people went past the place to have a look at the Sarveswari temple, but they would take a turn near the big boulder and go left. So, why she was surprised? This car, those people who came to go, wanted to visit the Sarveswari temple, they went towards the left, but this car moved towards the right. See, the road to the right went towards the dark bungalow. So that's what made her surprised. The survey officer was supposed to come at 5 o'clock that evening. It was only 10 in the morning. So Parvati was surprised. Parvati asked herself if the Sahab had come so early in the morning instead of coming at 5 in the evening. Surprisingly, the car moved towards the right, where the dark bungalow was. Parvati was worried to think if the Sahab had preponed his arrival time. Prepone is to come before time. Postpone is to delay the arrival. Suppose you have to come at 5 o'clock. You come at 3, then you have preponed your visit. You have to come at 5 o'clock. You decide to come at 6 o'clock, then you have postponed your visit. So Parvati was surprised if the Sahab had preponed his arrival time. The next moment, she comforts herself saying that the Sahab and their Mem Sahabs were slaves of the clock and they would never arrive early. She thinks, no. Sahabs and Mem Sahabs are very particular about time. They would never prepone the time. So Sahab has already sent the information that he would come at 5 o'clock, means he would come at 5 o'clock. So this is only 10 in the morning. So it must not be Sahab, it must be somebody else. They are coming in and going outs. The Sahabs and Mem Sahabs. They are coming in, their arrival or departure, going outs, were all properly recorded in advance in the official logbook. There is a logbook. There is a, suppose 10 o'clock leaving this place, 11:30 they will reach at this place, 12:30 they will visit this office, 1:30 launch, 4:30 they will leave for this place. So everything is recorded in a logbook, the about the visit. So just as the fate, the future, and what is to be of human beings all are chalked out beforehand. Your fate is already written. God has written your fate. God has already ordained your fate. What is going to happen to you? Right? So, just as fate, the future, and what is going to happen to human beings is already pre decided decided. Similarly, the visits of Sahabs and Memsahibs are pre-decided. That is what Parvati believes. Nando, her husband, had informed her that the Sahab and the Memsahib would arrive by 5 o'clock in the evening. However, Nando had left the key to the dark bungalow with her. He had left the key with Parvati to be on the safer side. In case the Sahab arrived early, or the Sahab and Memsahib arrived early, she could immediately run and hand over the key. It was only 10 in the morning. That was the most surprising thing. 10 in the morning, but a car went towards the dark bungalow. After supplying water to certain houses in the locality, Parvati intended to get some water for herself. The place where Parvati lived with her husband was within Bengal, the boundary of Bengal. When the partition broke out and there were riots, a lot of fighting, people killed each other, massacred each other, number of people were murdered. It was included in the redrawn boundary of Bihar. So Parvati was born and brought up in Bengal, but later this place became a part of Bihar, where Parvati was born and brought up. That place became a part of Bihar. Parvati had grown up here in this region. She had played in the red dust as a child. Now, at this stage, it seemed quite difficult to decide whether she was a Bengali or a Bihari. The sun seemed like a burning oven, even though it was 10 o'clock in the morning. It was a hot day. The sun was already shining very brightly. So it was like a burning oven. Even though the big clock of the mission school had struck 10 times, there was a clock at the mission school. And this clock had struck 10 times, signaling that it was 10 in the morning. Only a couple of minutes ago. So it was 10, 10, 10, 15 like that. Although her name was big, Parvati, she was very petite. Petite means very thin, right? Small. She looked like a sparrow. Now, suppose a question comes, you write the characteristics of Parvati because she is the most important character. You can write all these points. She looked like a sparrow. People didn't like her much as they considered her a flirt. People suspected her character. There was a people. There was a lot of character assassination. People thought he was a flirt who easily, victimized people, drew young men towards her by making them fall in love with her. So she was a flirt. That's what people believed. A woman who tries to attract the attention of men. So this was what people thought she was. And why they thought she was a flirt? People accused her that she made an old man of her father's age, in fact a friend of her father, fall in love with her and marry her in order to have her father's debt repaid. Father had taken some loan from a friend and he could not pay off the loan in time. Right? Later it was decided that Parvati would get married to him and the loan will be written off. There would be no need of paying back the loan. So, this was why people called her a flirt. People accused her that she made an old man of her father's age, in fact, a friend of her father, fall in love with her and marry her in order to have her father's debt. Debt means loan repaid. So, Nando was of her father's age. She was a friend of her father, right? The old man was not a Bengali, but a Bihari. Parvati's mother blamed her. Initially, Parvati's mother was not very happy with the marriage. Parvati's mother blamed her husband for agreeing to this strange marriage. So, what a strange marriage this is. How can you agree? How can you agree to give your daughter to somebody who is of your age? Huh? Parvati, on the other hand, supported her father's decision unequivocally. Parvati didn't find anything wrong with father's decision. She supported her father's decision. She knew the compulsions of her father. right? So she supported her father's decision. She she justifies her marriage with the old man in these words. Why? What is wrong? He may be older, but he works very hard. Doesn't he earn well? He earns double the amount a younger man would, right? He frequently works overtime. If I had married a young lad, what good would that be? In all probability, the young man would have taken me for granted. I am very happy as I am, a young wife of an old man. So Parvati knows the difficulties of a father. She understands the problems of a father. She understands that her father, is in no condition to pay back the loan, pay back the debt. So she doesn't find anything wrong. She adjusts. She says, no, no, it's all right. She consoles herself. No, no, it's all right. I am happy as I am. I am the young wife of an old husband, and I am quite happy with that. Although her mother was unhappy with the marriage, she would often arrive seeking for help to rid out of financial troubles. So Parvati's mother and father, her parents, they faced financial troubles. So whenever they faced some financial trouble, her mother would come to seek for financial help, money, in terms of money. Only a couple of days ago, Parvati had given her rice, wheat, sugar, and some money. Now, the officer's arrival was good news for the couple. Why it was good news for the couple? Because in that way, they could earn some money, some extra bucks, some extra money. The officer's arrival was good news for the couple as it helped them to earn substantial amounts as tips. They would get tips. They would get good amount of money. Nando was happy as there will be plenty of work now, and work means there will be more money. They will prepare a new survey of the boundary. After a lapse of 20 years, they will begin from scratch again. Begin from scratch means start from the very beginning. So Bengal and Bihar, these two states are in conflict with each other. They are fighting with each other regarding demarcation of their boundary. Each one claiming that some villages are there in their side. So land is being demarcated so that you know both these states would come to a settlement. କେହି କାହା ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଆଉ କଳି କରିବେନି ତାଙ୍କ ନିଜ ନିଜର ଜାଗାଟା ସେମାନେ ଜାଣିପାରିବେ. So there, this land, this officer, survey officer, he is going to begin from a scratch, means from the very beginning. Both the parties are ready to pounce on each other in case of a slight mistake. Like if there is some kind of a mistake, then they will not spare anyone. Bengalis, they are claiming a particular part of land as theirs, and Bihar is also claiming that part as their own. So you have to make a balance between the two. If there is any mistake, then there will be trouble. Parvati is worried to think that Mr. Mukherjee may be murdered during the course of the demarcation, as he was in charge of a dangerous and risky task. So the first chapter introduces the characters. We have Parvati, we have Nando. We know that Parvati's marriage has not been a marriage of choice, marriage of convenience. It is a marriage of compulsion, right? We know about the financial distress or the difficulties that Parvati's parents face, right? And we also get some idea about the situation in which the survey officer has come to the Dak Bungalow. So this is where the first chapter ends. Now let us go to the second chapter. Nando comes running to his house on hearing that Sahab has already arrived. Nando had gone to the office. He comes running with the message that Sahab has already arrived. Parvati had just finished dressing up after taking a bath and applying red vermilion. Married women, they put red vermilion, sindoor, on the parting of the forehead. So she was applying vermilion, red vermilion on the forehead. She had barely lighted the stove and put the kettle to prepare tea by then. Parvati reported to her husband what she had seen while she was at the well drawing water. So Parvati told her husband, I was drawing water. A car went towards the dak bungalow. I was surprised. I was thinking perhaps the Sahab had come. So when she says, yes, I doubted or I guessed that the Sahab had come or the Sahab might have come, Nando becomes a little angry. ଯେ ତୁ ଯଦି ଗେସ୍ କଲୁ ତାହେଲେ ଦୌଡ଼ି ଦୌଡ଼ି ଗଲୁନି କାହିଁକି ଦେଖିବା ପାଇଁ କନଫର୍ମ କାହିଁକି କଲୁନି ଏବେ ସାହେବ ସତରେ ଆସିଯାଇଛନ୍ତି Nando accused her by saying why she had not run to the dak bungalow with the keys when she had suspected that it could be the Sahab. Parvati now becomes angry. Parvati becomes angry. Parvati said, no, don't accuse me. Because you had told me 100 times that Sahib would arrive in the evening only at 5 o'clock. So how could I know if it was the Sahab? Right? This was only 10 in the morning. Besides, she would have reacted angrily if she had left without cooking his meal. If I had gone there to take care of the Sahib and the Mem Sahib, then you would have become angry. What you would have eaten in lunch? You would have become angry. She consoles him saying that the keys are with the Mali. So don't worry, there is nothing to worry. The keys are with the Mali. Nando asks her how she can sit comfortably when there was no one to take care of the Mem Sahib's needs. Okay, Mali will take care of the Sahab. But who will take care of the Mem Sahib? There is no lady employee. So how you are sitting so peacefully here? He threatens her saying, if you don't begin to move, I will pour this hot water over you. She was preparing tea. In the process of preparing tea, so he threatens her, if you don't go there immediately, then I will pour this hot water over you. Parvati retorts angrily that instead of dying a little every day, it would be much better to die at one go. ସବୁଦିନ ଟିକେ ଟିକେ ମରିବା ଅପେକ୍ଷା ଢାଳି ଦିଅ ସେ ଗରମ ୱାଟର ମୋ ଉପରେ ମୁଁ ଏକାବେଳେ ମରିଗଲେ ଭଲ. So this reflects that she has not been living a very happy life. Right? She has not been living a kind of life which she had dreamt of, right? Which she had thought of. Parvati retorts angrily that instead of dying a little every day, it would be much better to die at one go. So Parvati's refusal to leave for the dak bungalow makes Nando very angry. Nando is very angry. Parvati, however, seems least bothered about his temper. Parvati knows her husband very well. She knew that he would soon come back and coax her to go to the dak bungalow. He would come and convince her. He would try to convince her. Hey Parvati, please go there. You know I am a small employee in the office. Otherwise I will be in trouble. Please go. So she knew her husband quite well. Nando knew that in order to be successful, one had to behave as a slave in front of the Sahab. He also knew that the Sahab was accompanied by the Mem Sahab. If the Sahab was accompanied by the Mem Sahab, if the Mem Sahab was there, then his wife too would be required to act as a slave. He had to work as a slave. His wife also had to work as a slave. Because they were small officials in the office. So if the Sahab became happy, this would mean they would get some money. Nando soon came back to have his share of the tea. Nando was getting angry. He was running away. He was going away. Going away in a huff, in anger. But he came back. Parvati mocks him saying, who made tea for you? I had made it for someone else. You happen to be here, so you get a share. So Nando ଯେତେବେଳେ କହୁଛି, why did you make tea for me? Parvati says, who says I was making tea for you? I was making tea for my boyfriend. Right? You go to the office. I have a lot of fun with my boyfriend. So today you are by chance here. So Parvati makes fun of her husband. Nando accuses Parvati of imitating the lifestyle of well-to-do people, rich people. She demanded to have embroidered bed sheets, fancy pillowcases, thick mattresses. So Nando accuses her. So this is another aspect of another characteristic of Parvati. Parvati has a fascination for the lifestyle of the rich people. So Nando says, why do you demand all these things? Embroidered bed sheets, fancy pillowcases, thick mattresses. In reply, Parvati says, why not? Am I not worthy of these things? Should not I enjoy these things? I am worthy of those. Nando admits, I have to admit my heart is not a fit place for you. Oh, if you are made for all these things, then my heart is not a fit place for you. ମୁଁ ତ ଗୋଟେ ବୁଢା ବର, ମୋର ତ କମ ଇନକମ୍, ତୋର ତ ବହୁତ ବଡ ବଡ ଆଶା, ତେଣୁ I am not a fit person for you. My heart is not a fit place for you. You are fit for those officers. However, he regrets saying, then that is not your destiny. So what can you do? तो भाग्येर तो কথা নাই. নহলে otherwise you would have got married to a rich husband. Why did you get married to me, a poor person like me? Parvati mocks him by saying that she could do anything she wanted and that she could go away with any sahab. So if I wish, I could run away with a sahab and I could live a rich life. Just to make fun of her husband. Of course, she did not want to do anything of this sort. If he forced her to be at the beck and call of the mem sahibs. Beck and call means whenever the mem sahib say, I say, yes ma'am, I am there. Whenever they demand, you send me there. If you do that, one day or the other, I am going to run away with a sahab. However, after some time, she leaves for the dak bungalow. Surprisingly, the sight of a departing Parvati makes Nando depressed. Nando watches her. She is going away towards the dak bungalow. It's already 10:30. The sun is already shining brightly. It's very hot. So from a distance, Nandu watches her. And how does he feel? He feels very sad. He feels as if a little bird has flown out of his hand. Right? As if a little bird. He compares his wife with a little bird. And as if the little bird has flown out of her hand, of his hand. He is unable to comprehend his sadness. He feels very sad. But he doesn't understand why he feels sad. Then it strikes him that he has never seen Parvati from a distance. Right? She looks so distant, so out of reach. Right? It is as if she is going away from his reach, from his control. So from a distance, it seems as if Parvati is out of his reach. Poor girl, he compelled her to walk all the distance in such unbearable heat. He immediately decides to buy a good husband. He understands that he has made a mistake by sending his wife in that hot sun. So he says, okay, I must buy. He's a very caring husband, very loving husband. So he says, no, I must get a folding umbrella for my wife. He should really pay more attention to his beautiful young wife. That is what he realizes. He recalls the day when Parvati had refused to go to the well to fetch water, as she had blisters on her feet, wound on her feet. So Parvati said, no, I can't go because I have blisters. I can walk in that sun. That day, he had brought her a pair of rubber-soled chappals. Right? So this reflects how concerned Nando was for Parvati. How loving, how he was a loving, caring and affectionate husband. So, however, on that occasion, he had expressed his dismay, saying, now the life of luxury has begun for you. Now you will need a handbag, a pair of sunglasses. Oh, so it is a fashion in the village. It's not a fashion, of course. Women in the villages do not wear any chappals. So now you have a pair of chappals. Next, you would demand a handbag, a pair of sunglasses. A life of luxury will begin. Huh? Parvati retorted, why not? Do you expect me to dress like you? A pair of pyjamas that look like a pillowcase? So you are so improperly dressed. You look so ugly in this dress. You put on a pair of pyjamas that look like a pillowcase and a ill-fitting half-sleeved shirt. Ill-fitting is fitting very poorly. So do you think I must look like you? So this is where the second chapter ends. Second chapter is, is more about Nando's concern for the Sahab, Nando's concern for his wife. We get glimpses of how he loves his wife, how he adores his wife, and how he feels bad for sending her in the sun, and how she loves her, how he loves her. All these ideas we get from the second chapter. Now let us go to chapter 3. Nando was an old servant of the survey office. He assisted in measuring the ground and carried the officers' toolboxes. He helped to put up their tents. He had the habit of, so these were the positive things that he did. He worked in the survey office. He was a uh, orderly or peer group 4, a group D employee. Huh? So he would carry the measuring tape and other things, the paraphernalia that the officers wanted to carry out survey. He helped to put up their tents also, right? He put up the tent. He had the, but one negative thing about him was that he had the habit of poking his nose into others' affairs. Poking your nose into others' affairs, interfering in the activities of others. So this was one negative thing about him. Besides, he never let go any opportunities to come close to the officers because he knew that if he came close to the officers would appreciate him, and the appreciation of the officer meant that he would get his promotion in time. He would get some financial rewards also. The officers would give him some tips, right? Parvati often flared at this attitude of her husband. She often accused her husband of trying to humiliate himself. So why are you know you are acting like a servant as if you are a personal servant of the officers? Why are you behaving like this? Why are you always ready to help them? Huh? What are you going to get? The only reward you get is the casual comment that Nando is very helpful, a very willing worker. We can't do without him. We can't manage things without him. This is what the officers say. So Parvati is saying, "Ekku ଛାଡ଼ିଦେଲେ ତମେ କଣ ପାଉଛ କି?" ସେ ଖାଲି କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଯେ ହଁ ନନ୍ଦୁ ଭାରି ଭଲ, ନନ୍ଦୁ ଭାରି ସିନସିୟର, ନନ୍ଦୁକୁ ଛାଡ଼ିଲେ ଆମେ ବଞ୍ଚିପାରିବୁନି ବା ଚଳିପାରିବୁନି ଅଫିସରେ। ତ ଖାଲି ଏତିକି ଶୁଣିବା ପାଇଁ you are so interested to work as a servant. She thought these words were only a reward of words. If you are not getting any financial reward, but you are getting only a reward of words. They are praising you through these words. The truth was that Nando received substantial tips, but he did not disclose this to his wife. Well, why was Nando interested? Because he got some money in the process. Huh? But he never disclosed this to his wife. He didn't tell his wife that he was getting money from the. In addition to the reward of words, he was also getting some financial rewards. That's what he was not telling his wife. Nandu believed that women were like hawks. ଛଞ୍ଚାଣ ହେଲା ଶାଗୁଣା ଭଳିଆ ଛଞ୍ଚାଣ ଭଳିଆ ତାକୁ କଣ କରିବେ who on spotting money were sure to snatch it away, right? If they saw that there was some money in husband's pocket, they would immediately take it away. They would make a number of plans. ए तमे ଶୁଣୁଛ ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ଶାଢ଼ୀ କିଣିବି, ତମେ ଶୁଣୁଛ ମୁଁ ଏଇ ମୋବାଇଲଟା କିଣିବି, ତମେ ଶୁଣୁଛ ଆମେ ଏଇଟା କିଣିବା. They would make a number of plans. So women are like hawks. Besides, Parvati was naturally very extravagant in nature. She spent a lot of money in acquiring fashionable things. Parvati wanted to decorate her room. She preferred to use the Janata stove, a special stove, kerosene stove that was in vogue those days, that came to the market, that hit the market those days. She wanted to use plates glass tumblers instead of the commonplace aluminum ones. And she got what she wanted. If she were to become aware of Nando's extra income, she was sure to waste money. This was what Nando knew. Nando knew that if she had any hint of how much money he had in his pocket, he would make a long list of all these things. All the mem sahibs, young and old, liked Parvati and gave away fancy saris, blouses, glass bangles, necklaces of beads and similar items. Right? So these, mem sahibs who visited uh, the Dak bungalow, they were very happy with Parvati. So when they left, when they would leave, they would present all these items, fancy saris, blouses, glass bangles, necklaces of beads. Parvati served them excellently. She not only washed their clothes but starched those clothes, ironed them, scrubbed the floor so shining smooth that you could see your own reflection in it. So she was a very sincere worker. She was a willing worker. She helped the memsahibs so nicely that they didn't hesitate to present her gifts. Once Parvati learned to make a fancy hairdo from a memsahib, a particular way of doing the hair. She learned it from somebody, one memsahib. She used the newfound knowledge on other memsahibs, and those memsahibs became very happy. Parvati knew where to draw the line. So this was one good thing about her. She knew where to draw a line. I am a servant, they are the sahabs, and I must behave accordingly. How much closeness was proper. She has this idea of propriety, which is acceptable behavior, which is not acceptable behavior. She had a complete idea of this. She had a sense of propriety. She knew very well that the Mem Sahibs indulge in gossiping. Mem Sahib talk, they want to hear how Mr. Das is doing, how Mrs. Das is doing, whether Mr. Das and Mrs. Das are fighting or not. But there must be a limit. Those people are interested to know. But, you must always draw a line and you should never cross that line. On arriving at the office, Nando heard the shocking news that the Sahab had arrived alone. He had not come from Calcutta by train, but come by car from Ranchi. So there was a change in his schedule and he had arrived there, but without the Mem Sahab. Now Nando becomes concerned. Are my wife was not willing to go there. I forced her to go there, thinking that the Mem Sahab might have come. But now no Mem Sahab is there. Right? So Nando felt desperate. He had created a situation where the officer and his wife could come close. He cursed himself as his wife was reluctant to go there. It was only he who had forced her to go there. So now the Sahab was alone at the Dak bungalow. The Mali was the only person. Dasarath was the Mali. So he was the caretaker. Suppose the caretaker is not there. My wife is only there. Sahab is alone. And if Sahab takes advantage of the situation and pounces on her, what would happen? So he is now cursing himself. He thought of reaching the dark bungalow on the pretext of being concerned about the Sahab's well-being, but then decided against it. ସେ ଟିକେ ଭାବିଲା ଯେ ନାଇଁ ମୁଁ ଯାଉଛି ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ସେଠି ଯାଇକି ଡାକ ବଙ୍ଗଲୋରେ ପହଞ୍ଚିଯିବି ଆଉ ସାହା ପଚାରିବି କିରେ ତୁ କୁଆଡେ ଏବେ ଅଫିସ ଛାଡିକିରି ତାପରେ ମୁଁ କହିବି ସାର୍ ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ଆପଣଙ୍କ ବିଷୟରେ କନସର୍ନ ହେଇଗଲି ତ ଆପଣ ଆସିଲେ ହେରି ଟିକେ ଜଲ୍ଦି ଆଉ କଣ ସୁବିଧା ଅଛି କି ଅସୁବିଧା ଅଛି କି କଣ ଅଛି ମୁଁ ଟିକେ ପଚାରିବାକୁ ସାର୍ ପଳେଇ ଆସିଲି ଦେନ୍ ହି ଥଟ୍ ନା ଇଟ୍ would not be proper for me to go there. He had a lot to do in the office. Nando believed that nothing in life was more important than his work in the office. So this is one aspect of his personality. Nando believed that Nando believed in hard work, working very hard in the office. He slogged and plodded the whole day. Throughout the day, he would work and he would move here and there doing various tasks. So, thank you very much. These are the first three chapters. Thank you.